And joining me in the studio now is Dean Janes. He's the CEO of IMGG. IMGG is their stock symbol. Dean, good to see you again.
Good to see you too, Don.
We're real happy. We're reinitiating coverage of the company. Be following you now again for an extended period of time. It's kind of been an interesting ride watching the company the last couple of years. Obviously, you've had some peaks and some valleys. Where do things stand right now?
Well, Don, we just had a meeting with our consultant groups. And we formatted, actually reformatted our strategy with the FDA. One of the things that we're changing, as I've mentioned to you before, is that we were going to meet the FDA prior to our submission. We're now going to meet the FDA in the middle of this process. Okay. And what we've come up with is the phases that we're going to go through to submission. The first phase is we're setting up the protocols to submit to the FDA to have an actual meeting with them, to go over the protocols for the gleaning of images and the review of those images. Now that's phase one. When we get into that, we meet with the FDA to elicit their advice, use their expertise, and try to come to an agreeable protocol structure of getting the imagery and reviewing the image data. Now that's the meat really of the FDA package, is that part of it and that process. And it's important for us to go and meet with the FDA prior to the submission instead of having us spend all this time, take all this data, and then try to defend it or try to tell them this is the approach that we want to take, and maybe they can come back and say, well, we want more data or we want the data rearranged, so we wasted a lot of time. So from that meeting, we've decided that we're going to go through those phases, and we're in phase one right now, and that's getting the protocol set up to submit it to the FDA to have a meeting. And phase two is meeting with the FDA, agreeing upon those protocols, and then we move into phase three, which is then going and acquiring the data, going through the protocols that we've already agreed upon with the FDA, and then putting those to, grabbing the data and putting that into our image evaluation and review, and then we put that into our package and we submit.
So, I mean, to really simplify what you're talking about, you're saying to the FDA, tell us what you want and how you want us to present it, and that's what we're going to do, and that just makes the process that much smoother.
Absolutely, and it's important for us to bridge the gap of where we feel that we need to be in our submission process with where they think that they want us to be and what they want us to submit. And again, why we changed this approach is instead of going after the fact and taking all that time and getting all that data and then just trying to defend ourselves, we bring them into the process. We bring them in to agree to this is the format of the imagery, and this is the way that the protocol of gathering that data and reviewing that data. So it helps us to have them vested into that overall application process, and I think it's the best approach for us right now. It's giving us the best possible application that we can have. I want to call it bulletproof. To where that they are part of this process, bought into it. They've approved the data that we're going to provide them and the way that we're reviewing it. So I think it's a really good process for us, and it's a good strategy for us to get this through.
I remember when we first profiled your company a couple of years ago, I had said to you, okay, this thing's portable, and you said it plugs into 110. Bring it into the studio and show us what you did. A lot of people have asked, I'd like to see the Dominion in operation. What's the possibility of actually seeing that?
Well, Don, I'd really like to come back in about a couple weeks to a month, and do a video demonstration that we can do here live in an interview, to show the 3D operation, grabbing images and displaying them in real time. It's been very difficult to try to do so in the FDA process. We want to be very careful to not do anything in a way that would generate a question with the FDA, or go outside of the rules of marketing our device prior to getting FDA approval. But I think we found a way that we can do that with our talking with our consultants, that we could provide something for you. And I really want to. I really want to be on this show and show you those images.
Well, we look forward to that. I think you've mentioned the consultants a couple of times in the last few months that we've spoken to you. I mean, this has really been a major move on the part of the company. It's almost like hiring a law firm when you want a trademark. I mean, you can try to do it yourself, but chances of success may be 50-50. You've moved into another realm here, haven't you?
Well, absolutely. And because the process has taken so long, and there's just such a disconnect between myself or the IMGG and the FDA. you know, we did the next logical thing, which is go out and get help. You know, and we've got 2 different consultant groups, a legal consultant group and a technical writing consultant group, to help us go over our package. And the things that we found is we were right on the mark. 510K is the process that we should be going, not a PMA or anything like that. And then the devices that we had selected, you know, to do the equivalency data is right on the money as well. It's just now formulating the package in terms that the FDA can accept. And part of this and part of our strategy is to get them to buy into those terms and to those protocols.
Well, I'm really looking forward to having that demonstration on the program. You just call me and we'll slide the room in the show and make it happen. Again, Imaging 3, IMGG. Dean, always a pleasure having you on the show. And
Thanks.
we really look forward to the next 3 months.
Thanks for having me, Don.
Take care.